Hello, everybody. Welcome. Here we go. Happy Friday. It's Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of downtown, the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. I guess it is by default the studios of downtown if we're in downtown, in or of or whatever. But we are in the studios of WMNH 95.3, of course, in Manchester. And let's see, Channel 97, Comcast 97, we are not on today. There is still an issue with that, connecting to that, which, everyone's aware of, so it will be addressed. But you can listen, of course, if you're in Manchester on WMNH 95.3. And, of course, if you're on the Facebook, that's another way you can enjoy the program. The audio stream at WMNHradio.org is also not working. So same computer as the one I need to get us on to Channel 97. So we're 2 out of 2. But, of course, you can listen on 95.3 if you're locally here in Manchester, as many of you who are listening right now probably are during your afternoon commute. So happy Friday as we go into the weekend. And, of course, there is the Facebook on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page, as we do stream every day. And that's a great way to opine and interact as well in the Facebook live chat. Of course, we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street. I always say right across the street, but they're not directly across the street, but I can see them from here. I can wave hello. You know, they won't know because there's a little bit of a delay, but anyway, yes, the Hop Knot, we did trivia night there the other night. It was fantastic. Well, actually, it depends on your perspective. It was a lot of fun, but we came in dead last. We came in 4 out of 4, even with John Hopwood's enormous brain. It didn't help us, but that's okay. That's all right. It was wonderful to finally meet Bobby Champagne, and there were other wonderful people there. Jenny, of course, it was Jenny's Juggernauts was the team, and she brought some wonderful friends along, and it was great. It was a great time, even though we lost, and I'm not bitter. Anyway, but so that's something you can do with your Wednesday night if you're in the area. It's from 7 to 9 p.m., and it's a great thing. But even greater, the food is great. They've got the delicious gourmet pretzels. I did have one during trivia. My personal favorite is the Italian. It's almost like a calzone, but in pretzel form. It's so good. They also have craft beer. They have wine. It's a great place. They have the wonderful outdoor dining, and everything is very clean and very safe there. The staff is masked consistently, and they keep everything very clean and sanitized, and the tables are nice and far apart. So it's a great place to go and a very safe place to go. So the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street, and great food, but also a great family that runs it. So very happy and privileged and honored to have them as a sponsor. Also now at WMNH, Queen City Cabinetry is sponsoring the station. Our good friend Mike Pelopita, who is always in the Facebook live chat. In fact, I see him in there right now. Hello, Mike. Also, Kyle Heavey of Off the Mark Sports brought in Language Mingle, which is now a sponsor of WMNH and of Kyle's show, Off the Mark Sports. And, of course, CGI Business Solutions. And our family just continues to grow and grow. It's really a wonderful thing. And in all sincerity, we're very honored by that. And the continued increased participation of sponsors, but also the audience for the various programs and whatnot. It's not to get sappy about it, but, we've been at this a few years now here. More than a few years, actually. I think for the morning show, has it been 5 years yet for the morning show with Peter White? It's just to see it continue to grow and to thrive. It's just amazing. And to be a part of it is amazing. And I thank all of you for that. Let's see, the number to call today, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also send a text if you prefer to 617-917-4476. And I probably better open that up on my computer to make sure that I see it. 617-917-4476 is the text line. You can tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@ipmnation.com. And as always, You can opine, interact, participate, etc. in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do so that I can hear your dulcet tones is call us at 603-250-6007. Plenty of room to get in today. I'm all alone. I'm all by myself, as I think the song goes here in the studio. However, you don't want to put it off too long because it is Friday. Friday's show is a little bit shorter. We usually wrap up around 5:30-ish or a little bit afterward on Friday because Granite State of Mind is live at 6 p.m. And the wonderful Rob Azevedo usually has live musicians come in and play and participate. And they need time to set up and, plug things in and sound check and whatnot. So, on top of wiping everything down, making sure it's COVID-free. So, hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
It's Easy G.
Easy G, Eric Gagnon. How are you, my friend?
Boy, you're all by yourself today, huh?
All by myself. I don't remember any of the other words.
I had a feeling that Texas Mike was going to be there again, but I guess he had enough of the radio yesterday. So,
boy, I'll tell you, at the end of yesterday's show, you guys were going at it. The knives were out. I thought there was going to be a rumble. I thought there was going to be a rumble.
How dare he bring up the time I cried like a river?
Who would ever do that other than Texas Mike? Bring up the time that you cried, that you openly wept on the air. A low moment in
my life. How dare he?
How dare he indeed? The way you say that, you almost sound like you're doing an impression of me. You say it the same way I do it. How dare he? Are you doing an impression
of? Hanging around you too long.
I guess
so. I was thinking of two main topics today.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking of that fella that liked to show up in the studio, and actually, I kind of voted for him by mistake. The guy, what was that guy with the magic paperwork?
Huh?
The paperwork you kept under your pillow.
Oh yeah, Stephen Comley Sr., the secret documents.
Yes, I kind of voted for him by accident for the presidency. I was thinking about him yesterday when the factory blew up overseas in Lebanon.
You think he had something to do with it?
You know how he's against all these factories keeping all these dangerous weapons and.
You're accusing.
Dangerous stuff like Seabrook. With all the stuff they got there. The not the solutions, but the stuff you make stuff with. The what do you call that? Chemicals.
So I just want to make it clear. This is Easy G accusing Stephen Comley Sr. of having something to do with the explosion in Beirut, not Matt Connarton or anyone at WMNH.
No, I'm not accusing him.
I misunderstood.
To do with the explosion. I was thinking that he's against the power plants and against the chemicals and all that stuff. And
it is interesting in that manila envelope of secret documents. I did see a schematic of that building.
Oh no!
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just a horrible thing now because I heard yesterday in the news that the people are mad. Obviously, that happened because a lot of people died and injured and.
Well, yeah.
A lot of buildings are destroyed, and people are homeless, and it's a horrible situation.
Oh, it's horrific.
They're blaming the government for killing them, and they said, well, if they're going to kill us, we're going to kill them.
Right. Well,
it doesn't sound like a good situation, does it?
Well, no. It's terrible. It's very, very tragic. Yeah, it's awful. Absolutely awful. In every way,
so
on every level.
Hopefully they'll get their lives back in order, and of course they got to deal with the COVID-19, obviously, and on top of that.
Well, that is omnipresent, yes, the COVID-19.
But on a lighter note, I was checking out the World Wide Web yesterday, and they happened to find out that there's a rumor going around on the WWE news that The Rock wants to come back and wrestle Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
He's never wrestled before.
Daniel, I don't think it's going to happen, but Daniel Bryan did make a comment about wanting to wrestle The Rock. But who wouldn't want to wrestle The Rock? He's the biggest star in Hollywood.
Yeah, but true. But right now it's just horrible right now because there's no fans. And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen once the things get somewhat back to normal when there's fans in the building and stuff. Real fans, not. I don't think it's not the guys they have now and gals just standing around.
Right. I don't know if you can say gals anymore. Is that still acceptable? But, I don't think it's going to happen, Easy G. I don't think The Rock is going to come back to wrestle Daniel Bryan. I think we've seen the last of The Rock in a ring. Could be wrong. I mean, he's certainly
still in shape. Yeah, it's been a couple years, but you never say never in the wrestling business.
Boy, that's true. You never say never, Easy G. I concur.
There was a big payday involved, and I don't see him wrestling down in the place in Florida right now. That would definitely be a slap in the face to The Rock.
Right. Yes. Did you know The Rock and Nia Jax are cousins?
Say that again?
Nia Jax, you know Nia Jax in WWE. Did you know that she and The Rock are cousins?
No, I didn't know that. But, of course, The Rock is like a third or fourth generation wrestler.
Yes, that's right. He's related to...
But the thing I didn't like, I know you're not a big fan of watching the wrestling right now, but last week I didn't like it when the guy you like, when Jenny there, the Finn there, the guy that likes the Playhouse.
The Fiend. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend.
Yeah, the new they're setting up for the SummerSlam match coming up on the 23rd against Braun Strowman. That he
Braun
went
Strowman.
After the lady there at the end of the match there, Alexa Bliss.
Yes, that's right.
I didn't like that.
Gave her the mandible claw.
That's not nice.
Well, he's a bad guy. He's a villain. He does things that aren't nice, even though we love him. But he does things that aren't nice. Yes.
Yeah, that's not. I don't like that when the men beat up on the girls.
No, I don't.
Men should fight the men, and the girls should fight the girls.
No, I agree with you there. I don't like any intergender wrestling.
Remember when that lady used to hang out with Triple H there? She's no longer with us there. Her breast blew up there, her fake breast.
China.
She was the Intercontinental Champion. She used to fight the guys and beat them.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that. She had a good housekeeping match against Double J, Jeff Jarrett. How sexist is that?
Oh, God,
huh?
yeah. And another crazy rumor going around that Eric Bischoff, before he passes on in his life, he wants to be involved in every wrestling league. So the newest rumor is that he's going to help out now in AEW.
Yeah, he moderated a debate. I watched it on the YouTube. He moderated a debate between Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy.
He's been involved in the
very entertaining
Impact Wrestling there, and he was involved obviously in WCW and WWE.
Yeah, he's still got a full head of hair.
He's ever been involved in the Japan Wrestling or Ring of Honor. I wonder if he's ever competed in the or helped out in the Ring of Honor. You ever heard of that league?
Ring of Honor, of course. Ring of Honor is great. You ever watch any Ring of Honor? It's really...
I have.
Ring of Honor is very, very good. If you're a wrestling fan, Ring of Honor is something you should check out. Do you
think Eric Bischoff will be doing something in AEW as a commentator or something?
Well, he already did something, but apparently it was a one-night thing. He moderated a debate between Jericho and Orange Cassidy, and I watched
do you think
it.
It'll be more?
It was very funny, actually. Yes, I do think he'll do more. Why not? And he still wants to be involved.
Yeah, I guess there's one more rumor going around, too. I don't know if you heard that AJ Styles is not happy with WWE because a couple of his buddies left or as they're starting to let go, and they ended up in Impact Wrestling. So there's a rumor going around that he's going there now.
He is, no. He's not leaving WWE. He's one of the top guys. They would like, Gallows and Anderson would like him to go to Impact, but there's no way he's going back there, especially after the way he was treated there. They really kind of screwed him over. He's not going back there. No, he's going to finish his career in WWE.
You used to wrestle for Impact?
Yeah, back when it was TNA. Yeah, he was there for a long time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They just changed their name. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yep, same
company. They did kind of screw him over here, right?
Yeah, he's not going back there.
Yeah, he probably still makes good money in WWE, even though right now the league is kind of on in a mess right now because of COVID and wrestling down in Florida. I mean, it's just kind of...
Do you know?
It's kind of...
Do you know, Eric? They just had their most profitable quarter ever. WWE.
How can that be when no fans in the building?
I'll tell you how. Because not only did they lay off a ton of people because of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
But they're saving a ton of money on production costs because they're not running live events and they're not doing the shows in big arenas. So they're saving a ton of money now,
and they
have these giant TV deals.
Hosting a live event costs a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But they just hired a new guy in charge of doing something, I guess, and they're paying him like $1 million a year.
Yeah, they have a new CFO, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see how long he lasts.
We'll see. We'll see.
You know, Vince McMahon and Donald Trump, they could be brothers because they love you're fired. They love doing that.
That's true. They both like to fire people, although Trump allegedly doesn't really like firing people that much. That was all for the show.
Oh, sure.
He prefers to humiliate them.
Dummies go, I think Donald Trump has a better chance of headed to prison sooner than McMahon will be.
I do believe that. Once Donald Trump is no longer president, he will be indicted by the state attorney general of New York. Yes, I agree.
Well, you got to wonder why he's not allowed anybody to look at his taxes.
Well,
that makes you wonder too, doesn't it?
Clearly, there are things he does not want us to know.
Because I don't think he wants to let anybody know about some shady deals that he's been doing, probably, and I don't think he's as rich as people say he says he is.
Yep. Winning the presidency is the worst thing that could have ever happened to him. Otherwise, he'd still just be sailing along. Maybe he'd still be hosting The Apprentice. Who knows? Yep. Worst thing that could have happened.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
It will be.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon.
All right, Easy G. Thank you very much. Easy G, Eric Gagnon leaves us. That opens up a line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. If you missed it, of course, Easy G did do the entertainment report yesterday, and not only did he get the typical criticisms that he gets from folks like Peter White, his former employer on the morning show, but even Texas Mike kind of lashed out at him there. There was genuine tension in the room at one point at the end of yesterday's show. It was quite exciting. If you missed it, you should definitely listen to it. You know, all the shows are archived at WMNHradio.org. But give us a call, 603-250-6007. I see some folks in the Facebook live chat, including someone new in the Facebook live chat I've not seen in there before. Let's see. So Mike Pelopita appears to be the first one in. Hello, Mike. Mike, of course, from Queen City Cabinetry, one of our new sponsors here at WMNH. The Honorable Heidi Hamer joins us. She says, good afternoon. Pete Trouble Morris is in the Facebook live chat. He says, sick intro, Matt. Where did that go? I wanted to, I apologize. I wanted to give credit to who that track was that I played, that song that I opened with. It was an artist that I am not particularly familiar with, but I stumbled upon that track and I said, I need to play that. And I accidentally closed it out, and I did not mean to do that. I meant to keep it open, but I think I got distracted by our technical kerfuffles. If you're just joining us, today we are on WMNH 95.3 FM here in Manchester, as usual, and we are on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page, but we are not broadcasting on Comcast 97 like we usually do, and we are not streaming live at WMNHradio.org because of a technical problem, which, they're aware of. It'll be fixed soon, but the track is called Rockstar. It's the BLM remix, and the artist is DaBaby, one word, D-A-B-A-B-Y, featuring Robbie Rich. So if you're looking for that online, of course, I played the radio edit. There is an unedited version of that, but I heard that track and I said, I got to open with that today. So I'm glad you enjoyed that, Pete, as much as I. Anthony Richard, also known as Tony D, in the Facebook live chat. Of course, if you're watching online, you can see, or you may have seen the picture that I posted. I've got my Tony D podcast shirt here. It finally came in the mail today. I was very excited to get this. It fits perfectly. Good quality shirt. Make sure you check out the Tony D Show. Very easy to find online. If you just search it, you can find it, on the Facebook. And of course, it's available on the podcasting platforms. Y'all know what they are by now. Very, very easy to find the show, and it's a great show. So thank you, Tony, for sending this, Tony D. And I love my new shirt, so thank you very much. I was very excited to get it. I'd been a little concerned because he said that, I remember he had called the show one day and mentioned that according to the tracking number, it should have been here by now. But, the post office is getting a little backed up lately. Maybe we'll get into that today if we have time. There's much to discuss regarding the post office, my friends. The good old U.S. Postal Service. Brian Mackey is in the Facebook live chat. Brian, all the way from Idaho, of course, host of the No More Excuses podcast. And you can see, if you're watching online, I have my No More Excuses hat on. Hello, Brian. Brian says, woot, nice shirt. Bobby Champagne is in the Facebook live chat. He says, I'm listening on Facebook. And he said, the pretzels are amazing. Yes, the amazing pretzels at the Amazing Hop Knot, our amazing sponsor. And Bobby said, the staff is top shelf. And he said, tell us more, Trudy, quoting the great commercial. I shouldn't say it's a great commercial because I'm the one who created the ad. So that's a bit masturbatory of me. I apologize. But can I say it's a fine commercial? I think I did a fine job. If I say I did a great job, it sounds like I'm patting myself on the back. But I am proud of it. It's okay to be proud of it at least, right? Hello to Shannon McGuire, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Shannon. And there he is, Tom Gully of the Tom Gully Show. Hello, Tom. Now, I did call into Tom's show recently, to discuss this. And Tom did call into my show recently to discuss this whole thing about the green host issue. Of course, Tom and I are both frequent call receivers of the great Chris James, Vancouver comedian, host of Not Even a Show, which you can find on YouTube. And I am the original green host. You know, when Chris James calls these different shows, he likes to call a lot of conservative talk shows. So he calls like Dennis Prager and Brian Kilmeade and Sebastian Gorka and many others. And he rates those hosts red. Those are red-rated hosts, and red is very bad host. He also calls some shows, he rates them orange, which is not great host. And then there are the green-rated hosts. And green is very good. You are a very good host if you are rated green. And it just so happens that when Chris decided, he instituted this rating system because he didn't always have it. I am the original green rated host. And Chris and I became friends, and I always enjoy talking with him, and I enjoy being featured on his program. But I am the original green host. Now, Tom Gully of the Tom Gully Show, he used to be rated orange, but he got promoted. He did get an upgrade, and I will say, well-deserved. He got upgraded from orange to green, so he also became a good host, such as myself. Now, I am the original green host, but Tom, and there's a couple other shows too that Chris calls occasionally, they're also rated green, but Tom did become rated green. Then there was an incident where Chris downgraded Tom from green to orange, and people were like, Chris, why did you do that? And that turned out to be an accident. Chris just made a mistake one week on Not Even a Show when featuring one of Tom's calls and didn't mean to downgrade him. It was an error. So to make up for it, Chris then declared him stone green. So it is etched in stone that Tom Gully is forever a green host. And Tom called the show one day last week and said that, I guess it's like the Highlander, according to Tom. In the end, there can be only one green host. But what's interesting about that is, and by the way, Tom was the one who initiated this idea that there can truly only be one green host. But what I find fascinating about that is, if you think about it, if there is only one of something, well, there has to be an original of that thing, right? So I'm the original green host. The green host started with me. It started with moi for our French-speaking listeners, oui, and whatever, right? It started with me. Now, if there can be only one of something, and I am the original of that something, of which there can only be one, then wouldn't it stand to reason that I, as the original of that thing of which there can only be one, am the only one? If there, in fact, can only be one? So if there can only be one green host and I'm the original, then wouldn't that be me as the one? And then whatever came after that would be, a counterfeit, right? A pale imitation of the original green host if there can truly be only one. Just something to ponder, Tom Gully. I like Tom. I like Tom very much. I like his show. I've been watching some of his. I don't get a chance to catch it live always, but I've been watching some of Tom's shows on YouTube. He recently just started. I guess he was doing his show on Facebook like we do this show. And now he's on YouTube, and I've been watching some of those. I think they're very good. Although Tony D from the Tony D Show did point out to me that apparently Tom likes to talk about mayonnaise. Now, I don't quite know what that's all about. I will tell you this. I do enjoy mayonnaise. I don't put it on many things, but I will put it on a burger. I do like some mayonnaise. I like, I like the ketchup. I like the mustard and the mayonnaise. I like them all together. I would not, have jars of mayonnaise near me while broadcasting, but I do like mayonnaise. Perhaps they're a sponsor of Tom's show. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure I fully understand the mayonnaise thing, but Tony D did send me, I think it was a screenshot or a GIF of Tom with his mayonnaise. It was a little bit unsettling, frankly, because it was an enormous jar. It's like, how could you need that much mayonnaise? By the way, did you know that if you go to Subway to get a sub, you can't get light mayo anymore? You can only get regular mayo? So I don't know if anyone else knows this, but it's true. I would always get the light mayo. Like if I get a sub with some, because I like mayo. To me, why not get the healthier alternative? They taste exactly the same to me. I can't tell the difference between mayo and light mayo. My taste buds are oblivious to any difference. There is no discernible difference whatsoever as far as I'm concerned. So might as well get the light mayo. But no, apparently that is no longer an option at Subway. I don't know why. Not a huge deal. I'll just get the regular mayo on it. But, I'd rather go with the healthier of the two. Let's see. Bobby Champagne says, I don't want to wrestle The Rock. I wouldn't want to wrestle him either, unless, of course, there's money and fame involved. So maybe you should want to wrestle The Rock. Bobby says, women are called badass now. Good afternoon, badass. Oh, yes, I did see that on Facebook. Angela Philbrook is in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Angela. Bobby is asking, how's your mom, Eric? EZG Eric Gagnon, of course. Apparently his mother is not doing great, but I don't think EZG wants to really talk about that on the air, so we won't. Because that did come up briefly yesterday. And it was, by the way, it was part of the source of some of the tension at the end of the show yesterday between EZG and Texas Mike. I thought, speaking of wrestling, I thought the two of them were going to wrestle. That would have been great. Texas Mike, of course, was a tag team champion in the late 1970s with Blackjack Mulligan back in the old AWA. Tom Gully says, the current fake wrestling isn't as good as the old school fake wrestling. Well, the current wrestling, I won't call it fake. I mean, they really do get injured. I mean, please, Tom, my goodness. But watching it with no crowd is very, very difficult. Now, the AWA show, which I never get a chance to watch, except I'll, if something pops up on the YouTube that looks interesting, I'll watch it. They're doing the show every week, I guess, in an outdoor venue, and they've got enough people there spaced apart. It's not open to the general public, but they're able to get enough people at this place and space them out so that you do hear something of an actual natural sounding crowd reaction to the things that are going on. So that's not so bad. But the WWE shows, I mean, I haven't watched an episode of Raw or SmackDown in 7 or 8 years anyway, like all the way through. It's hard to watch to begin with because the writing is so bad and the characters are just interchangeable. But I do like NXT as one of the WWE shows. But even that, watching it with no crowd, is just very, very strange. Tom says the men shouldn't only fake fight the men. It's not good. Oh, it's not. The men should only fake fight the men. It's not good when they fake fight the women. Yeah, that's something I've always been incredibly uncomfortable as a fan. I'm a lifelong wrestling fan. But any kind of male on female violence or even the implication of it is I'm not okay with. That's one thing that and we saw a lot of that in the 90s and what they call the Attitude Era. I mean, and I understand, Vince McMahon would get asked about it in interviews and he would say, well, look, it's a battle between good and evil. It's a morality play. You have good guys and bad guys. And, the female who's been harmed in some way, she always gets her revenge in the end, her comeuppance and so forth. But, that stuff always made me uncomfortable. Even in the 80s, I remember watching wrestling as a kid and being, because as far as any kind of man on woman violence, the feelings that I have about it, which are very, very strong. I mean, my personal opinion is if you're a man and you think it's okay to put your hands on a woman in any sort of violent way, you're just a POS. I mean, you can't do that. I won't go any further with that particular thought because I have very strong feelings about it, and I might say something I shouldn't even say, but if, anyway, I remember watching wrestling in the 80s, and there was this thing where Hulk Hogan I think he was wrestling Macho Man Randy Savage, and it was during the time, Macho Man's my all-time favorite, by the way, but it was the time when Sensational Sherry, for a little bit, was Macho Man's manager. And Sensational Sherry, or I think she was Queen Sherry at that point, because Macho Man was the Macho King, because he had won the King of the Ring tournament, if I remember the scenario correctly. So Sherry would always, because she was a bad guy, and Macho Man at that point was a bad guy, so she would interfere in the matches. And I remember this moment where, so I think Macho Man wins the match or whatever, and then Sherry comes into the ring and gets in Hogan's face. Did I say that right? Hogan had won the match, and then Sherry gets in the ring and gets in Hogan's face. And Hogan, grabs her, and he's got a fist in the air, and he's, threatening like he's going to hit her. And the crowd is cheering. And, of course, he never actually hits her, because you can't have that. But just the crowd is cheering this moment where Hogan, the ultimate good guy, is kind of he's got his fist in the air, he's kind of threatening, he might hit Sherry, a woman, and it's oh, this is messed up. This is not okay. And, looking back at it a few years later, it seems even less okay, as we as a society are far more sensitive to things like that. But even back then, I remember watching that as a kid, I was saying, well, this is uncomfortable. I don't like this. It's quite the, Tom Gully says, I like watching interspecies wrestling. I don't know. Is that, I don't know if that's even okay. Bobby Champagne says, I love to watch intergender wrestling, I think, LOL. It's hard to tell. Shannon McGuire says, I just looked up Nia Jax, The Rock's cousin. Man, she's a brute. Oh, yeah, she is. Well, actually, unfortunately, and this is true, not only, I mean, she's big, and, she's not someone, even if you're a dude, you wouldn't want to mess with her, but she has legitimately injured several people because she gets, I don't know, she's too rough or whatever. For real, I don't mean in storyline. I mean, she's legitimately hurt people. Not intentionally, obviously, but Bobby Champagne says, Trump gave up his wonderful life just for the citizens of this fine country. I don't get it. Well, look, I mean, Trump, I've always said, and if you're a longtime listener of the show, you've heard me say it, I don't believe he ever intended to be president. Trump is the accidental president. The whole thing started as a publicity stunt. And there's evidence to back this up, by the way, and things people close to Trump have said that back this up. It was a publicity stunt. At the time, when he announced his candidacy for the presidency, he was trying to negotiate with NBC for additional seasons of The Apprentice. So he tried to leverage himself up, and, he'd been toying with this. I mean, every 4 years for quite a few years, he'd been hinting around. I mean, really since the 80s, from what I can recall when I was a kid. Every 4 years, he would hint at, maybe running for president. And then he would never do it. That's why I was very skeptical in 2016, because I was like, he was talking about running for president, but he hadn't announced anything yet. And I told everybody, I said, he's not going to run. He does this every 4 years. He hints at it. He toys with it. In 2012, he even kind of hinted at it and toyed with it more than usual, but still didn't follow through and ended up endorsing Mitt Romney. I said, he's not going to run. And then he ended up running. But he was trying to leverage himself up to get more money out of NBC for The Apprentice. That's one of the reasons to run for president. I mean, when you think about the reasons, why does somebody run for president? It's not simply because they want to be president. There are other reasons. For example, very often you'll see presidential candidates who also have a book to sell. Newt Gingrich was it 2012 the last time Newt Gingrich ran? It was 2012, right? He, was it 2012 or 2008? I think it was 2012. His campaign events were book signings. His campaign events were at bookstores where he and his wife Callista would autograph, because they're very prolific. You know, they write a lot of books, some separately, some together. They make these conservative documentaries that they put out on DVD. They create a lot of content that way. So that's what his campaign events were. They were book signings, which, hey, I'm not knocking him for it. You know, I think that's very enterprising, actually. But, you know, Herman Cain, when he ran, he just passed away recently. You know, he had a book to sell. That's why he was running for president. You knew he wasn't going to be the Republican nominee. He had a book to sell. It was a book tour. It was a glorified book tour. That's one of the reasons a lot of these folks run for president, you know, or because they're just trying to increase their public profile, or they're trying to increase their speaking fees. That's another great way. If part of your living, which is true for so many public figures, both in and out of politics, but especially in politics, if part of your living is made from giving speeches, what's a great way to increase your speaking fees? I'll tell you, it looks really good on promotional material if you can put former presidential candidate, right? So that's another reason they do it. That's a big reason why they do it. You'll notice that too. When these candidates run, very often, look at who has a book to sell, or look at who makes a sizable portion of their income from giving speeches. Who's very popular on the speaking tour? You will see a correlation. I promise you. I mean, why the hell do you think Marianne Williamson ran for president, to be the Democratic nominee? Do you think that she actually thought that she had any chance whatsoever at being the nominee? Of course not. But she's an author. She's got books to sell. That's a great way to sell a lot of books. You know? Hey, I give her credit. Of course, another big reason, too, is people want to be vice president. If you've been in the presidential race, that kind of automatically gets you on the short list as a potential VP. I mean, you know, the smart money right now is on Kamala Harris to be Biden's VP. And of course, she ran for president. So, but I don't believe Trump ever really wanted to be president. But then once he became president, now he has to stay president because it's the worst thing that could have happened to him. Because I truly believe once he's no longer president, he's going to be indicted. I know the MAGA people don't want to hear this, but you watch. He's going to be indicted by the state of New York. And it's getting serious. I don't know how many of you have really been paying attention to that, but it's getting serious. There's a lot of trouble coming. Karen Kubit said he wanted to be king. No, I don't think he did. I don't think he ever expected to be the nominee. And once he became the nominee, I don't think he ever expected to win. I mean, think back to election night. When he walked out on that stage to give his victory speech. The dude, did he look happy to you? He looked shell-shocked. He looked like he just pooped himself. Seriously, he looked terrified to me. I remember when Howard Stern interviewed Hillary Clinton a number of months ago. You know, I still haven't, I never watched the whole thing. I watched some of it. I think I watched most of it. It's like 3.5 hours long. But so whether you like her or you hate her or you're just somewhere in between, she's a very interesting person. So, you know, I have a lot of mixed feelings about her, a lot of ambivalence, but I am interested in what she has to say. And it was, and hearing her interviewed by Howard Stern was very interesting. But she talked about, you know, the subject came up of election night and how hard that was for her because everyone assumed she was going to win. And she talked about calling Trump to concede and to congratulate him because that's what you do. That's the tradition. And Howard asked her, well, what was his reaction? What was he like? Was he gracious? Was he kind? Or, was he a jerk? Did he gloat or whatever? And she said something about, he just seemed completely shocked. He seemed more shocked than she was. Like just shell-shocked. Like he didn't know how to even process what had just happened. I'm telling you, he never expected to win. I used to say this, back when I was just doing the show as a podcast before I came to WMNH. I used to say all the time, look at how he's campaigning. Did he look like he was trying to win? Trump was doing, I remember on my show one time talking about how Trump was doing campaign events in the Northeast. Because apparently Trump didn't like to fly somewhere and then stay overnight. So what Trump would do during his campaign is he would try to arrange it so that he could be in his own bed back in New York every night. And there was one particular week I remember he had a campaign event in Connecticut, and then I think in the same day he had one in Massachusetts or Rhode Island or somewhere. And I'm sitting there on the show. This was when I did the television show. I'm sitting there and I'm going, does this guy look like he's trying to win to you? He's a Republican and he's campaigning in states like Connecticut and Massachusetts, states that he has precisely zero chance of winning in the general election. These are states that are about as blue as it gets. He has no chance of winning. If he wants to come to New Hampshire to campaign, okay, maybe, or even Maine. But Connecticut and Massachusetts? He's not trying to win. He's just going through the motions. He wants to stick close to home so he can be in his own bed every night. He's not trying to win. I'm telling you, he wasn't trying to win. He was trying to look like he was trying to win without actually trying to win. Let me put it that way. He didn't want it to be obvious that he wasn't trying to win, but to someone who actually, with cognitive abilities who's watching this, I would sit there and say, he's clearly not trying to win. Bobby Champagne says there is some talk about delivering the vaccine via the U.S. Post Office when it's ready to the citizens of the U.S. And Brian Mackey says, yes, the original green, but what's this stone green? What are you, in league with Tom Gully all of a sudden, Brian Mackey? Are you in cahoots with Tom Gully? Well, the stone green is etched in stone because he was inadvertently demoted to orange briefly. So now it's in stone that he's green. But I'm the original green. Robert Dion joins us in the Facebook live chat. Robert Dion, of course, part of the WMNH family. He hosts Through the Stage Door, which is a great program here on the station, but he is also the new entertainment reporter on The Morning Show with Peter White. Did a great job yesterday. I listened, and he brought in his keyboard. He played some songs. There was a sing-along. It was fantastic. And he seemed also, with the report, very organized and very focused on what he was doing and very articulate. And I did suggest to EZG yesterday, because EZG is the entertainment reporter now on this show, now that he was kicked to the curb and cast out like God did to Adam and Eve, cast out of the Garden of Eden. I said to EZG, I said, that is what happened, right? I'm not much of a theologian. Right? God got mad at Adam and Eve, and they seem like such a nice couple. It's really a shame. But although they were nude all the time, which is weird and creepy. I don't want to look at, well, anyway. Plus there's like a snake hanging around all the time. I don't know. Not much. It doesn't sound like paradise to me. But I suggested to EZG, I said, maybe you should learn a musical instrument like Robert Dion, so you can kind of compete with him. Try to help him out. And apparently EZ did play the drums in high school, but he had a terrible incident where he fell off the stage and the drums fell on top of him. So he doesn't play anymore. Brian Mackey says, okay, but you have held your green status without the need for being locked into stone. Well, that's right, because my green status is secure. Can Tom Gully say that? Apparently not. Well, it is now. Mary LeMay is in the Facebook live chat. He says, hey, Matt, your show's not on Channel 97. Yeah, there's a technical reason for that, Mary. Mary hosts a show on Channel 23 here in Manchester called Cruisin' with Mary. Tom Gully says, the original football helmets aren't as good as the ones they have now. Oh, yeah, the Leatherheads. Is that what they call them? Leatherheads? They had those leather helmets. That's a good point there, Tom. That's a good point. Tom Gully also says, a listener sent me 2 full gallons of mayonnaise. I have no idea why. Oh. Is that why? You know, actually, come to think of it, if anyone listening wants to, I think at my place, I think we're out of ketchup. So if anyone wants to send me 2 gallons of ketchup, we could use those, and I'll bring them in every day for this show. Bobby Champagne says Vegenaise is better than all of them. Is that how you say it? I assume it's like mayonnaise but made from vegetable product somehow. Bobby says, I feel the same way as Matt about violence towards women. I don't agree with a man hitting anyone, especially a woman. Yeah, absolutely. God, I was big Sopranos fan. I think it's the greatest show in the history of television. That's just my personal opinion. And but I remember watching it, and that was the one thing that would just, you know, and again, I mean, obviously it's characters and it's in context and it's fiction, but oh my God. Like whenever there was violence against women in that show, that was the one thing that would just make me cringe and like clench up. Angela Philbrook says, maybe you should run for president and get light mayonnaise back at Subway. Seems reasonable. You know what, Angela? That is a great idea. I'm going to tell you something. If Trump can do an executive order banning TikTok, I should be able, when I am president, and it does seem inevitable. I mean, I expect to be drafted for the presidency. I will issue an executive order to reinstitute light mayonnaise at Subway. I will do that. And to all those of you who would say that that's some sort of abuse of power, I say, too bad. You elected me. This is what you get. Of course, I'm speaking of in the future. Bobby Champagne says, if the Dems really want to win the White House, why are they supporting Joe Biden? There's got to be someone younger and more qualified than him. Well, funny thing about that, Bobby, yeah, if you notice during the debates, there was a whole stage full of people younger. But, nope. Actually, a Republican friend of mine pointed out that at one point, when the Democratic field, you know, Trump is, what is he, 74? He's the oldest president we've had, right? He's the oldest president we've ever elected. But somebody pointed out to me, when it was down to just Biden and Bernie for the Democrats, of the 3 of them, Trump was actually the youngest one in the race. It is remarkable. I don't think that, I don't agree about the more qualified part in the sense that, I mean, Joe Biden is certainly qualified. All those years as a senator and then 8 years as vice president. No, I don't dispute for a second Joe Biden's qualifications, but I don't know, and I don't want to be ageist about it, but what is he, 77, 78? No, just no. I mean, he's clearly, and by the way, I don't buy into the stuff about, oh, he has dementia or he's senile. I will leave that to a professional to diagnose that. But there is cognitive decline. I also can't go along with these people who say, oh, I don't see any cognitive decline. He's just Biden just being Biden. No, guys, they're clearly, I mean, he's lost his fastball. I understand he's always been gaffe prone. And I only just within the last year came to realize that apparently he has a lifelong stuttering issue. You know, that he obviously manages very effectively because, you know, so few people even knew that he had a stutter, but apparently he does. So, you know, it is very frustrating. It is very frustrating. We're going to go from the oldest president we've ever had to somebody even older. It is frustrating. Bobby says, I don't think it makes a difference, but why take a chance with Biden? It just doesn't make sense. Now is the time for the Dems to promote a great candidate and kick Trump's ass. Well, that's the problem, Bobby. Now is not the time. The time's already passed. Biden's the nominee. I mean, he hasn't formally accepted the nominee, but that's why, one of the reasons why who he picks for a Veep will be so interesting. Because Biden will probably be a one-termer. Robert Dion says, got to go. Have a great weekend, all. You as well, sir. You as well. Oh, he's got some customers. Okay. Miriam Banish is in the Facebook live chat. She says, I'm listening on radio today. Got to do some driving. Well, we are at the top of the hour. Let's take a quick break, and it will be a very quick break. I just want to show some love to our sponsors, and then we'll come right back. Of course, Fridays is a shorter show unless I am alerted otherwise. Robert Dion will be here to do his show at 6 p.m., Granite State of Mind. And he has live musicians coming in play, so they need a little time to set up, and I need time to wipe everything down because it is the COVID era. So we will take a short break, and then we will come right back for our last 30 to 35 minutes or so. I'll see you in a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Afternoon radio wants to hurt your children. Just listen.
Matt Connarton Unleashed. Weekdays, 4 to 6 p.m., inviting you to put truth and conservative ideology aside and join me for a liberal discussion. We put aside conservative truth.
He told me never to tell about him or he'd kill me.
Paid for by Mike Doyle.
Американская фирма Transceptor Technology приступила к производству компьютеров.
Oh yeah, people are starting to tune in. We've been getting tons of feedback about the show.
Oh, slow down. Oh, yeah.
I was listening last weekend. My mirror smashed, lights were flickering. That is not a good time. All the songs, they all ran into each other. What good is that? Should have been gone! But you don't remix a mix of a mix. Listening last Saturday, all of a sudden, spaceship outside my window, bright light, boom, tractor beam, pulled my kid straight out the window.
The word is out. Late Night Delight with DJ Midas, Saturday and Sundays at midnight, right here on WMNH Manchester.
Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
John Hopwood is my daddy. John Hopwood is my daddy. John Hopwood is my daddy. John. Daddy. Oh, Jesus.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Matt Connarton, Unleashed, and we are live on WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. We are also streaming on the Facebook on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. So those are a couple ways that you can enjoy the program. Of course, we are not on Comcast 97 today, and the audio stream on the WMNH website is also down. So that's due to a technical kerfuffle, which will be resolved shortly. But of course, you can listen to the show. As Peter White likes to say, that's the best way to listen is in the car or in the car, depending on what part of New England you're from, I suppose. On 95.3 if you're here locally in Manchester. And of course, we have a large audience online as well, which we're very thankful for. So you can enjoy on the Matt Connarton Unleashed page. Hello to everybody in there. 603-250-6007 is the number to call. 603-250-6007. Don't wait too long because it's Friday. So you got about 20 minutes before we begin to wrap up to make way for Granite State of Mind coming up at 6 p.m. hosted by the great Rob Azevedo. Let's see. You can also text me at 617-917-4476 if you prefer. You can tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@ipmnation.com. So you have no shortage of ways to reach out and get in touch. We should, well, you know what? Let's look first. I got a couple things I want to get in here before we do run out of time today. Lawandcrime.com, only because I'm fascinated by this and how does this actually work? And I don't know of another instance of a president doing something like this, but lawandcrime.com, which is a, oh, Shannon says, I like that word, Matt, kerfuffle. Yes. Lawandcrime.com, which is a great site, has this article up. Trump signs executive order against TikTok use. Here's what it means. President Donald Trump issued an executive order yesterday, which dictates that, or which declares rather that, quote, that he is, quote, addressing the threat posed by TikTok. It's a terrible threat posed by TikTok. Wow. The order began with a lengthy preamble describing the various risks the administration has deemed are associated with TikTok, a Chinese-owned video-sharing social media app. Let's see. According to Trump's warning, users of ByteDance Limited's TikTok risk having their personal information captured. Well, okay. Well, I mean, but isn't that kind of a thing with any app or social media thing that you do? I mean, furthermore, Trump warned TikTok manipulates content in alarming and dangerous ways. No. He doesn't understand how TikTok works. That's what you manipulate the content. Like you upload. I'm not on TikTok, but you can upload videos and then you can do funny things with them and edit them in funny ways, right? Therefore, the president explained, aggressive executive action is necessary to protect Americans. Thursday's executive order is the latest in a series of statements Trump has made about taking action against TikTok. On Monday, Trump said in a White House press briefing that rather than completely banning TikTok, he would allow a U.S.-based company to purchase it from its parent company. Yeah. All right. Maybe we'll come back to the article, but couple things. First of all, let's be honest. There's only one reason any of this is happening. There's only one, and we all know what it is. It's because of what TikTok users were able to pull off with that rally. What was it? Was it the Tulsa rally where they TikTok users organized this campaign to, grab up, not buy up because the tickets were free, but, to register for tickets to make it look like the event was sold out. And then, of course, none of these people were actually going to show up, and it was done as a way to strike at Trump and embarrass him, right? That's the only reason any of this is happening. because Trump is so petty and so vengeful, and now he is seeking revenge on TikTok. That is the only reason. None of this was on Trump's radar before that happened, and we all know it. We have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
427 620 24
There's a lot of numbers.
1 5 4 8 4 0 8 1 5 6 9 8 4 7 7 1 5 8.
Hang on, I pulled the audio down on that for a minute. I'm not sure what this is, but is anyone writing this down? I'm worried that these numbers are going to be important for something, like it's some sort of code or something. Did anyone get any of that? No. Let me see if it's still going. Oh, it's done. Because I don't know, it just sounds important. Like that might have been some sort of important data. Might have had something to do with TikTok. Is it data or data? I've always said data. So many people say data. Let's see. The other thing is, too, about this, it is so strange, is Trump has talked about the Chinese. This is so weird. The Chinese, if they want to, and he talks about it like the Chinese government itself is running TikTok. Maybe they are. I don't know. I don't think so. But he keeps talking about the Chinese can sell TikTok to an American company, and then the United States Treasury will get a commission on the sale. This makes no sense at all. So he expects China, as he says it, China. He expects China to sell TikTok to an American company and cut the United States government in on the deal. None of this makes any sense. There's no logic to any of it. All we know is he's mad at TikTok. Tom Gully says, I've been getting the recorded number calls all week. Weird, but only mildly annoying. Well, I just wonder, what if it's somebody trying to communicate something? What if it's aliens or something? And I don't know. I don't know what it is. Next time, if we get another call like that, I'm going to start writing those numbers down. Mike Pelopita says, sounds like the code in the TV show Lost. Aha! You know that show? I watched the first episode of Lost when it was on and it became this enormous cultural phenomenon, and then I never watched it again. I remember seeing the very first episode and thinking, this is kind of interesting, but not interesting enough to bring me back. But apparently the rest of the country had other ideas, and it became a huge success. Bobby Champagne says it's a countdown by someone who can't count backwards. Oh, that could be. It could be someone getting anesthesia. They're about to go into surgery and they're trying to count backward. Or, I am a certified hypnotherapist, which I really should talk about more on the show than I do. But, so I help people to do things like quit smoking and lose weight and so forth. And one of the things I do is, I have you count backward from actually, I don't even have you do that, so never mind. I do the counting. I just have you go along with it. But I could do that. I could have the client count backward from 20. Maybe that was someone doing a live hypnosis session, and they wanted to get my feedback on what we call the induction when you induce hypnosis with the counting. There's many different ways to do it. You don't have to do it that way. I could go off on a tangent for that for hours, But did I mention I'm certified? I've actually, by the way, I can't tell you who, but I have done hypnotherapy with, I won't say if it's a current or a former United States senator, But I have done hypnotherapy for a United States senator with a United States senator. That is a fact. Yes, I was that close to power. Shannon says, that was your Sears warranty number. Oh, crap! I should have written it down. DJ Midas is in the Facebook live chat. He says they need to speak with you about your vehicle's extended warranty. DJ Midas, of course, host of Late Night Delight, which you can hear every Saturday night beginning at 12 midnight all the way to 4 a.m. with a replay on Sunday. Great show. Of course, DJ Midas, one of the part of the WMNH family. And, I still get junk mail from these companies, these quote-unquote companies, trying to sell me a warranty on vehicles that I haven't owned in, like, decades. It's very bizarre. It's a very bizarre industry, the whole fake warranty scam thing. Bobby Champagne says, hypnotherapist, could you help my addiction to this show? Oh, there is no, once you're hooked on this program, Bobby Champagne, there is no helping you. Let's see. Of course, now some of you are going to be wondering if I drop little hypnotic suggestions into the show to get you hooked. Let's read what the actual executive order says. There's portions of it here. It's not the whole thing, but so the executive order that Trump signed said this: TikTok has reportedly been downloaded. I wish I did if I did a good Trump impression, I would read it as Trump, but I don't think I do a good enough impression. So I'm just going to read it straight. TikTok has reportedly been downloaded over 175 million times in the U.S. and over 1 billion times globally. TikTok automatically captures vast swaths of information from its users, including internet and other network activity information, such as location data and browsing and search histories. Oh, okay. So in other words, it is just like any other app. Jesus. Like, does anyone hear that and go, oh no, I've been using TikTok all this time and they're finding things out about me and my browsing history? Oh my goodness, what have I done? I need to delete my account. Oh Lordy. Does anyone say that anymore? Oh Lordy, my grandmother used to say that. And I think I remember receiving that word on a birthday card once, Lordy, Lordy, look who's 40. The data collection threatens to allow the Chinese Communist Party access to... Oh, because that's a big thing now, communism, the Chinese Communist Party. That's really what Black Lives Matter is all about. There's all these conservatives on social media who say that now. It's all being funded by George Soros, and it's because the communists from the Chinese Communist Party are trying to take over the United States. But I digress. Potentially allowing China to track the locations of federal employees and contractors, build dossiers of personal information for blackmail, and conduct corporate espionage. TikTok also reportedly censors content that the Chinese Communist Party deems politically sensitive. Wait a minute! Oh my God! An app or a social media platform that censors certain types of content? Oh, TikTok users everywhere are probably like, whoa, I can't believe I participated in this. I need to get that off my phone right away. They actually censor certain stuff? Wow. The mobile application may also be used for disinformation campaigns that benefit the Chinese Communist Party. Come on. Such as when TikTok videos spread debunked conspiracy theories about the origins of the 2019 novel coronavirus. But that's what the very people who don't like TikTok do, isn't it? It's like we're in some sort of alternate universe here. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this? There's nobody there. Wow. Might have been the guy with the code trying to decide if he wanted to just start over or not. Bobby Champagne says China's our friend, right? Well, they're not our friend. They do own most of our debt. You might say they're our banker. That gets complicated. Actually, that is one thing I've always said. He says they don't want to harm us or Trump. I have always said that, when Trump talked about the threat of China is a threat to the United States in some very important ways. And this is something where, conservatives, in my view, they're not wrong when they bring that up. And I do think that Democrats have been somewhat derelict on that. Democrats don't like to talk about it. Now, I won't go as far, Trump likes to call him Sleepy Joe, but somebody, that's right, it's my dad, likes to refer to Joe Biden as China Joe. I don't buy in any of that, but when Republicans talk about China being a threat and Democrats not taking it seriously, they're not wrong to bring that up. But this is madness. I mean, this is just stupid. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
I feel welcome.
Is this Dave Ridley?
It might be.
Dave Ridley. Hey, I was just discussing, I don't know if you were listening to the show, I was just discussing this Trump's executive order about TikTok because they're, TikTok is apparently a tool of the Chinese government to make us all communists.
Yeah, well, that's, isn't it great that YouTube, is so pro-freedom and they don't censor anything?
Right. Oh, boy. Oh, Shannon McGuire says, like many teenagers, my 16-year-old is addicted to TikTok. Well, social media, period. Yes, teenagers everywhere are probably very upset. Well, Dave, you know what? So you had called, and by the way, I'm sorry we couldn't do it yesterday. Yesterday we were in the middle of EZG's Entertainment Report when you called. But yes, I am curious to learn more about this Confucius Institute at UNH. And is this an attempt by the Chinese Communist Party to spread communism to America's children?
Well, there is an actual and apparently growing threat from China to the United States and especially smaller countries. I think that's real. I don't think that's warmongering when people bring that up. So, I have found myself looking more into, what they're doing and is anything, of local interest. And yeah, I discovered that, it's not exactly a scoop here. The world knows about it. It's been in the press, but, they have these things, the Chinese Communist Party has created these things called Confucius Institutes, and they're all over the world in universities. And I think there used to be upwards of 100 in the United States. I think that number may be down to 50. I suspect they're evaporating because of the hostile views that Americans are gaining against the Chinese government.
Yes.
In the wake of the COVID thing. And really, I think in some ways the threat is diminished by the COVID crisis. In some ways it's increased because of the fact that the Americans were hit harder than the Chinese. But yeah, they're Confucius Institute, so they teach Mandarin at the University of UNH at Durham. And I think they're not supposed to teach any history classes. There were some restrictions placed on the one here in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And different universities placed different restrictions.
We should just clarify, Dave, too, that when we say Mandarin, that's the language that they speak in China or one of them, because some people might not know. I've met people who they hear Mandarin, they think it's like a fruit or something. It's they don't know that it's the language.
我会说普通话吗?
No,
wait, no, sorry, that's wrong. 我会说普通话.
Oh, careful! I hope you're not swearing in Mandarin.
I was saying I speak Mandarin.
Oh, good. I was going to say, don't get me in trouble with the FCC. You speak Mandarin? No kidding.
Well, I don't speak it very well. I only have about a 400-word vocabulary at this point, but I'm learning as fast as I can.
Dude, that's impressive to me. That is exactly 400 words more than I know in Mandarin. I didn't know this about you. I find that very impressive. Good for you.
Well, it wasn't true until recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did actually give it a little bit of a go in 2015. But I don't think I don't really like the tape that I was learning off of, and so I just kind of, what do I do? I don't know. But then all this crisis happened, and I realized China, how important they are going to be. So, whether as a heaping pile of rubble after they start a war, or as the world superpower, or whatever it is, it's China's more important this decade than it was 3 decades ago.
Right. Well, that's part of their plan, right? Don't they have isn't it a 50-year plan to their 50-year plan toward to get to world domination or something? Is that for
Probably
real? Or
so, and they again, we're not talking about the Deng Xiaoping government. This is the what's his name? The current government,
Xi Jinping,
or however you say it.
Yeah.
The current government, it's a different cup of fish, and I think there may have been some derailing of some of the plans they must have been making before, because, China was a pretty well-behaved country, right, in the 1990s, and 10 years ago, it was just a normal country in a lot of ways, except that it had a great economic prosperity, which I can praise the party for having allowed that to happen. But, they just seem to be taking this hard turn toward a more authoritarian setup than they had 10 or 20 years ago.
Well, do you have a theory about why that is?
It's just a new leader. I think that's the main difference.
Okay, yeah.
It's too centralized, and he's now made himself virtual, president for life, aka dictator type dude. So yeah, there's probably some democracy within the party, but it's now a situation where the person at the top can change the course of the thing, and so whatever plan they had, which might have been a little more benign 20 years ago, I mean that's my guess. I don't know for sure, but whatever plan they had is that seems to be out the window now, and it's just world domination, crack skulls, put people into concentration camps, put them into body bags while they're still alive, and that seems to be the new MO, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way, right?
Yeah. I mean, would you rank them as a superpower at this point?
Yeah, I think they deserve the title superpower. And in a sense, I think, China is just the world's natural superpower. It's the world's natural world power. And I'm not even sure I object to that. But the problem is that it's a world dictatorial power right now. It's just not behaving even close to. It's not even close to Putin, right? Like Putin's a nice guy compared to these thugs that are currently running the show.
Yeah. Shannon in the Facebook live chat says, I believe Mandarin is taught at the high school level too. The high school in this district does it. And Bobby Champagne said China has no interest in being the world's superpower. They like being second fiddle to us. Xi is president for life, and he is not ambitious at all. That's interesting. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, I wish that were true, and I wish I didn't have to pay any attention to this. But I mean, they're not a threat. I don't think China is much of a threat to the world in the sense that, like right now, it's not a Munich type situation, right? It's not 1938 exactly, because the world seems to be somewhat united against China. But the problem is the ace in the hole that the Chinese have, other than their nuclear arsenal, is that they are focused like a laser. The Chinese government, not the Chinese people, but the Chinese government is focused like a laser on developing the world's first artificial general intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And the day they develop that, the world will be theirs the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you talking about that on the show once before. That's I think you're correct. Well, so what about this Confucius Institute? Any thoughts on that specifically, or is it just kind of an interesting?
I looked at their webpage, over at the University of New Hampshire. They had a video about it. The video was, as you might expect, it didn't deal with any of the controversy that surrounds these institutions because they are controversial on every campus, I think.
Yeah.
And they've been kicked out of a lot of campuses. And of course, the video doesn't deal with any of. They never address the question of, well, are these people, who are teaching these classes and so forth, paid and paid by the Chinese Communist Party? Are they teaching? Are they covering up or downplaying the things that have happened in China that are not acceptable?
Right.
And that question doesn't come up in this propaganda video that the UNH put out. The claim is, again, this isn't a war crime, the fact that they're here, and I'm not even sure they should leave. I tend to think, hey, I'd love to go over there and start a conversation with some of these CCP members, and see if I can change their mind about something or inject an idea into their head, that they take back to Beijing and start a revolution and take down the government. I don't know.
Right.
I'd love to be. I think you turn disadvantages into advantages, but these things probably should be monitored, and it'd be useful, I think, to get out there and just see if the general public is allowed to film the classes they're teaching. Right. I bet that would create a spitstorm if you even tried to do that. They'd lose their minds probably and call the police. Right.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But all the way through, in the 90s, I couldn't go down to when Serbia was running roughshod all over the Balkans. It seemed like I couldn't go to some university and ambush interview a Serbian government professor, right, and make him explain himself and explain his government's actions. I couldn't do that back in the 90s. But here, you can do that, right? Like anyone who wants to could just walk up with a camera. They figure out when the classes are, just walk up and confront these people.
That's true. That is very true. Well, Dave, we're going to have to wrap up because it's Friday, and we actually we shut down the show a little early on Friday because Rob Azevedo is going to be coming up with Granite State of Mind, and he has live musicians coming and play. They need time to set up. But it's been an interesting discussion, and there's a lot of interesting comments in the Facebook live chat, which unfortunately we're not going to have time to get to. I'd love to pick this up again, though, in the very near future because it is fascinating to discuss China. And I agree with your comment about they should be classified as a superpower at this point. But before you go, Dave, please give the Ridley Report a plug.
RidleyReport.com. I ambush interview politicians, and I say Sai Qian, which means goodbye.
All right, Dave Ridley. Thank you so much, my friend. Take care.
You're welcome so much.
Bye-bye. That was interesting. I didn't know Dave spoke Mandarin. Wow. All right, we do have to go. Great comments in the Facebook live chat. I'm sorry we don't have time to get to them, but I need to start to shut things down, like I said, so Rob and his guests can get set up and I can clean everything as we are in the COVID era. But if you missed any part of today's show, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org, where we do archive all the programming here that airs on WMNH. And of course, like I said, Granite State of Mind is up next at 6 p.m. If you have a chance this weekend, stop in at the Hop Knot. They do brunch now, by the way. I don't know if we've mentioned that lately, but they're open noon to 5 on Sundays for brunch. And of course, the rest of the days are open 12 to 9. They're closed Monday and Tuesday, but they'll be open this weekend, of course. So, enjoy some delicious gourmet pretzels, some craft beer, some wine. Great place. Everything's very safe there. They have the wonderful outdoor dining, and it's just awesome. Great food and great people. And we're very honored and privileged to have them as a sponsor. And, of course, much love to our other sponsors as well, Queen City Cabinetry, CGI Business Solutions, and Language Mingle. Our family here continues to grow, and we're so very grateful for that. So, check out Rob Azevedo with Granite State of Mind at 6. Late Night Delight this weekend, Saturday night at midnight, with a replay on Sunday night if you miss it. And, of course, be back Monday morning, 7 a.m. for the morning show with Peter White. Thank you all, and that's it for me for now. I will talk at y'all on Monday.
Afternoon radio wants to hurt your children. Just listen.
Matt Connarton Unleashed. Weekdays, 4 to 6 p.m., inviting you to put truth and conservative ideology aside and join me for a liberal discussion.
We put aside conservative truth.
He told me never to tell about him or he'd kill me.
Paid for by Mike Doyle.